welcome everybody to MogTalk. If you guys are unfamiliar with MogTalk, this is a show based around the Final Fantasy XIV community discussing everything from Savage Raiding to a Chocobo Racing. Today, we are going to be talking about Dawntrail raiding and what we've seen with normal mode and what the community is saying about it and what our expectations are for Savage and lots of fun stuff there. Just a heads up, Arthurs is not here. He's planned to be on the show, but he's having some internet troubles. We are going to continue the show and bring him in if he comes back. But for right now, we have two amazing guests still on, which one being Llamatodd. Llama, can you tell everybody who you are, dude?
Sure. Final Fantasy XIV streamer with a focus on raiding. How you doing? What's up, everyone?
That's real boring, dude.
Well, they know me. They know me by now.
They know you,
right?
You know who I am.
You know who I am. I've been on here before.
Fair. Llamatodd, the you know what? They should give you a title that references the clearer, the guy who gets new streamers in through clears.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I think every
the
time
collaborator or
someone starts the game and then they get in the Savage and you get wind of it, you're like, hey man, hey, I got you. Let's get a group going.
That's the joke. Yeah, it's I just wait for MS. I'm not watching their MSQ reaction. I'm just waiting for them to finish so I can say Prague.
Yeah.
Time to Prague. Let's go.
You're the raid vampire.
Well, I am a raid. Exactly. I am a raid vampire. I mean, you got to think about it. Like I'm doing these people a service, all right? Because many times these streamers, right? They get stuck on MSQ and they don't know what the hell to do afterwards.
Yeah.
They got nothing because all the MSQ Andes are going to leave.
True.
All the vampires are going to leave. So
Wait,
I'm
you're
like,
telling me that there's something that's beyond the MSQ? That's crazy. I had no idea.
I'm just saying it gives people like a little extra content and they can think about it. And they're like, all right, you know what? I kind of like that rating. Let me do that. Because some people are just lost. It's a good service I provide.
Yeah. It's the after the MSQ, the vampires have sucked all they can from these guys.
Yes.
They just milked it as much as they can. They're like, what's the next Cal? And then they see that fucking raid Cal up there and they're like, let's get the buckets.
It's the raid meta. It's like because people they've already gotten what they want out of the reactions. You know, okay, and then the people leave. MSQ Indies are gonna go, but now it's like, oh, let's watch them meme and learn some raids. Let's watch them wipe. Let's watch them suffer. Especially if it's someone who's never really raided before.
Oh yeah,
like that's exciting.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that's a better intro. There we go.
Yes, that too.
Kai, tell everybody who you are.
I am a Kaiyokostar. You might know me as some dumb cat girl on Twitter that posts about the fashion report and stuff like that and maybe cares about glamour, but I'm actually someone who's rated since the beginning of ARR at quite a bit and ultimate rated up until top or not top. What not top? Not top. I never did top.
Wow, what a loser, dude!
I know.
Non-alpha legend on the show.
I'm sorry. I rated until perfect Alexander, and now I'm a PF casual Andy as of Endwalker. So now I am in the PF trenches.
The mighty have fallen.
Yeah,
true.
That's all right. You know, everybody has their limits. Not everybody can do in-game content like others.
It's a struggle, man. The game is just too hard. I
so
need
hard.
Yoshi P to fix this and save me. I don't know what they've done with Dawntrail, but man, did you guys see the third dungeon? Like I got knocked off like 20 times on the last boss. I could not read those punches.
You gotta add like a mock tone to it. Because you have the exact same tone you talk like normally, right? So it's just
I'm serious. It's so hard for us. You just don't understand.
If I can't hold W and like just go through a dungeon without getting killed or damaged anyway, like it's unplayable.
You know,
I have to one-shot everything and I have to just hold W and then nothing else.
That is, I think it's worthwhile to get into that. and talk about the community's reaction, because it has been interesting. It's been interesting to see what certain people are saying about the raids.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I do want to know what your personal opinions are on raids and how you currently feel about what we've seen with the normal modes. And I guess like this is coming off of like what we've seen with the extremes as well. So how are you feeling about raiding in this game right now before, Savage comes out?
Well, I'm loving it. I think all the combat, all the instanced content in Dawntrail has been awesome. It's really the the saving grace of the expansion. I can't wait for Savage. I think it's gonna be some interesting fights. And even like the music too. Like we get a different track for each boss. Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Voice
Even
acting.
just like the dungeons and the trials were great too.
Yeah,
I'm super excited.
battle content in this game seems to be doing really well.
Yeah. I would say that we are eating fucking good when it comes to the battle content. Like, holy shit, they hit it out of the park with the battle content. Like, I am loving playing right now. While some people might be fighting over how much they like Wookiee or whatever part of the story or whatever, but I'm over here sitting good, eating every single bit of the content, loving it, and I am re-energized more than I have ever been because of all
What do you mean?
like
You don't like
the EXs, the raids, even the dungeons. Like, I look forward to actually playing daily all the time now, just because like I feel like I'm engaged with the content. Like they hit it out of the park with us. Like, the music is amazing from the raid. The bosses, I feel like they went really hard at trying to make something unique. Like, I'm really happy.
Do you think that there's any chance that we're in a honeymoon phase?
I would say I have brought this up and I said maybe I am in my honeymoon phase because I did take a break from 14 for a bit.
Same.
But man, I feel like I can tell the difference where like there's like something in the back of my mind that's like giving me doubts, and I don't feel that right now. But maybe it is a honeymoon phase and I'm just so delusional, like drunk on like the wine after the wedding.
It could be, since I mean, like we go a long time between like content patches, right? It's having anything new. It's gonna be bright new shiny thing. We're just gonna have fun with it. But I just like the dungeons alone, like we're doing it for me. I'm like, I wanted to do more of those, and I'm kind of saddened that I feel like expert should have like way more dungeons. Like if you're doing roulettes, I wish I could just do all the other dungeons.
Like they almost scaled them up, right?
Yeah, like Unreal Dungeon or something.
Yeah,
like, just let us. Like, I want to go back and do like the Vanguard one.
I've heard some people like not like Stabro or Dreadwalk or something like that. I don't know
the Ghost Town.
So I've heard people don't
Oh,
like that one.
They don't like the first boss with the it's kind of annoying with the hitbox.
It is, but I honestly, I almost want to give them the benefit of the doubt because I felt like they tried to do something more with that, and they tried to make it more engaging. Like, as much as I want to complain about how far those things may grab me, and I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I getting touched by this? Like, why are you leaping across the screen and getting me? I mean, it's probably a skill issue, let's be honest.
It is 100% a skill issue. I dodged the hell out of those.
Just dodge them.
Just dodge. Like, it's the same thing I complained about the A7S ball, right? You just don't go in front of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, or it's like the dragon heads in Shiva, right? It's like that hitbox. It's got that lead, that space in front of it.
Yeah, just it's dangerous.
It's bigger than you think.
Yeah, you just got to imagine that once they get in range, they have an ability to lunge forward, right? And so you just stay away from the front, and then you're usually okay. I like that stuff, and I like the way that a lot of these fights are designing ways for you to mess up, but it's not the end of the world, right? It just hurts. It's just like, crap, my DPS sucks now. Crap, I'm gonna take a little bit more damage. Crap, I died, but it's recoverable, right? It's they're not like, you wipe and you're done and it feels horrible. It's, hey, you messed up and it wasn't perfect, and now next time you do it, you can try for perfect, right? And that's all you're doing is trying to do these things that have a lot of little gotchas that like seem like bullshit at the time, but it feels really good once you like fully execute it and you actually figure it out.
Even if you did wipe now, they did adjust it so it teleports you right to the entrance of the boss now too, right? So
That's
they're a little
only
even
in the
more
new
forgiving.
dungeons.
In the new dungeons, that's
Yeah,
fair.
unfortunately,
new.
but yeah.
Maybe they'll do it later to everything. So
It would be nice.
it's hopeful.
I mean, from what I understand from seeing that they did that, it's just like each dungeon has an assigned spot. It says teleport, it tells you where to teleport. So someone just has to go through it, manually change the quick skip to go right before the boss once a flag is checked. That you've made it to that boss, the flag is checked, that is where you go to now, instead of straight back to right where the last boss you killed was. So I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be too difficult for them to design that.
Yeah, it'll probably come much later. I think they're focusing on just like the new stuff. It seems like a lot of their answers were like, yeah, like all these quality of life things, we'll get around to it, but our focus is on like the upcoming patch.
For sure.
So we'll see it in phases.
Now, I will admit that I was very hesitant to be excited for these fights and for things to be interesting because the live letter looked absolutely uninteresting when it was showing off the raid content because it just showed the first part of the fight, which they haven't really changed anything about most of the first fights because it's still a couple hits, AoE and so on. Left cleave, right cleave, so on, right? And so there's still like some of that stuff in a lot of these fights. And so it's not as crazy as I would hope for it to be. Like, I want them to go super fucking crazy with it, right? But it's like a touch crazy enough to make it fun and enjoyable and refreshing. And so I am glad to see what they are doing with the extremes, what we've seen in normal and what could be in Savage. But it's a scary time because I don't know if they're going to make it too easy or too hard with Savage with these new mechanics. I don't know. And that's it in regards to the world race, where I don't know if it's going to be beaten in 10 hours or in 48 hours.
I have a feeling that the difficulty is probably going to stay similar to how they usually have it for the first tier. Only because I feel like they turned up the lower end difficulty a bit on the expansion, but I still feel like the extremes are fairly easy. Like I don't think the overall game is that much harder. I think they're just trying to push everyone in the right direction to like, hey, maybe focus on getting a little better at some of these mechanics, or like after getting 100, you should have known by this time how to deal with this stuff and take it in a little differently. So I'm not too concerned about Savage. Like I expect it will probably be along the same lines as like what they've given us before in a first tier, but maybe we'll be surprised.
There is going to be a lot of get good stuff, but I don't know. It's funny. I don't think that get good is going to relate to damage. I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of damage checks. There could be, but right now, doing extremes in Party Finder, I am noticing people are using their 2 minutes just all over the place. Mainly Pictomancers. I just watch them like a fucking hawk, dude. I watch them as soon as I time when that fucking flower patch hits the ground, and sometimes it's like way after the start of the fucking
There
fight.
are some curse 2s in the extremes, though. I mean, there's like
that's good.
There's like the you gotta move 3 times and bait the AoEs. That's during a 2, so people can't really cast during that. Like I know on Fawn Ninja, like I actually move out of the third like AoE puddle where we have to stack. I move out of the group so I can do my Tenchi Jin. Otherwise, I'll just die.
Well, I'm talking about like the opener, dude. Like,
the opener? Oh, well, then
people don't even have openers
crazy.
to help.
Oh, well, that's on them, man.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a new Pictomancer that's forgetting to use their motifs before the battle starts, though?
No.
To get them prepped or something?
No, it's prepped. They're just like, I'm going to wait till the beginning mechanics are over before I do my 2 minutes.
Okay.
Interesting.
They don't try to fit in their 2 minutes with how the opening is. Example would be with X1. you know, when it starts and it has the lines and everything, you have to dodge the lines. They like there was one that wouldn't do his 2 minutes until after the line dodges were over.
Have a lot of new players. Maybe they're just coming to the game like for Dawntrail or something. Maybe they just don't know. The game doesn't really teach you to do an opener. It's like, oh, by the way, if you're gonna do Savage and Extremes, press these buttons first. It's like they're just kind of like freestyling, like some sort of innovative rotation.
Right now, that is what a lot of new players are doing, and if they add in a DPS check in the Savage side, it's going to be a reckoning.
There's always a DPS. Yeah, there's Savage. There's going to be a DPS check.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, it's always debate. You can say there's a DPS check at Extremes too, right? But there's not really. So. Anyways, you know, in regard to everything, myself, you guys, we all think currently the raid content, everything's good, right? We're happy with what they're doing and the direction they're doing. So we're biased as fuck when we are talking about it because we think we're from that side. So now I want to talk about the other side that we don't have any representatives for and that we're just going to shit all over because we have no one to defend them, right? The people who are complaining the content's too difficult. Because that is actually something that is happening, right? It's something that I have expected to happen. There's been forum posts out there. They've been like a handful of different things out there.
Yeah, we went over that forum post the other day.
Yeah,
I did too.
But it was refreshing, however, to see a lot of the responses were kind of not necessarily shitting all over them, but just kind of defending the developers' decision to increase the difficulty of like normal content or even story content like dungeon.
Yeah,
I've been an advocate of that for a long time. I do think like baseline, like especially if you're going to call something an expert dungeon, expert roulette. I mean, it's got the word expert in it. All right, that means you have some sort of idea how to play your job. You can press the buttons. You know what an AoE combo is. You know what your single target combo is. You know what your utility buttons are, your defensives. Like you should have some good grasp of your job to be considered an expert. But more often than not, I go into expert roulette and it's just some idiot that's like, you don't pay my sub if I try to give them any advice.
Oh yeah.
I honestly feel that there's probably a large issue with the fact that Endwalker was so story focused and brought in so many different types of people that it's just people were not even trained during Endwalker to be able to deal with half this stuff. So it's almost like they're hitting like a massive like wall of like what the hell is going on almost like because they're not used to it like all of a sudden and it's probably about a bit of a shock and maybe we as a community just need to keep pushing back against it in my mind. Anytime it comes up and just be like, no, this is normal. Like you need to kind of like start learning the game. You've been playing about 100 levels now. Like get like under like I don't want to say get good, but like
100
what were
levels,
you doing for the past 1 to 90 like 100
reading
levels,
dialogue
like, for real? Yeah,
that's what they're doing. They're reading dialogue,
hanging out in Limsa Laminsa, just staring at the other cat girl in front of him.
I mean, and
doing the heart emote, and then that's it.
That's part of what Square Enix sells this game as is a very story-focused game, and a lot of people champion it as a story-focused game, and everything else to where it doesn't really require a lot of battle content. For example, Dawntrail was 23 hours of cutscenes and about 3-4 hours of like actually battle content, if you include the dungeons, the solo duties, and the trials, right? And only one of those trials you actually had to play with people, right? And so that is literally the experience the average player gets when they're going to in-game. There isn't like a lot of like stuff to emphasize, hey, you should learn how to play your job or try to learn anything about the game. It's just
the game's never been like that. It's always been, if you want to get good, like you always have to some sort of external resource.
I mean, and that's fine.
Website,
right?
Is it though? I mean,
I
feel like.
Well, here's the thing. My opinion is external resources are fine for the way to learn, and the game doesn't have to just spell everything out to you. But they should have challenges where they have to look up shit that increase while you're going through things, right? And so those challenges should like make you start thinking about how to play the game.
Well,
maybe not like perfect, right?
Well,
but just
right, but like maybe not like here's how to do an opener, but there should be something like, well, here's a DPS check for like that you need to do like in a solo duty, and if you can't do it, maybe you should think about how to do more damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could almost see that being part of like the job quests.
I think so.
Like right, and at the end,
quest,
like you reach the final job quest for your job, and you should be able to do that rotation or whatever, like a minimal amount of like DPS and like understand the basic concepts of your job just to like get through this, right?
Like,
and if you don't have that, you shouldn't be able to queue into DF because then you're gonna terrorize everyone else, right?
I think so.
Well, here's the thing, dude. I know on the JP servers, DF is used for more difficult content in general, but DF for in AEU is roulettes, right?
Yeah.
What else besides roulettes do we use DF for? That's it. I get normal raids, sure, right? That's about it. And so a lot of that stuff happens all inside Party Finder, and people can kick them out. People can say, hey, you're not doing well, and you have that human interaction to where it's just not, you're not queuing in randomly. You have no control at all. It's just randomly sorted with people, and you just leave and come back. With a Party Finder group, although I'll let you know, most people treat Party Finder like Duty Finder. But if you're leading a Party Finder group, you do have some level of control on, hey, this guy's underperforming, we see you're not here 2 minutes, whatever, and then you remove them and you get someone else, right?
Wait a minute, Frosty. How do you know that they're underperforming? How
you can tell by when they hit.
How dare you?
Guys, you do not need third-party programs to know if you're doing better than other people in the group. All right, or to analyze their stuff. It is so easy to see if a little emboldened buff pops up, right? Little buffs like that.
Buffs. I got
you can see Emity list, right? You're like, I'm pretty high. I mean, it's a little deceptive because there's some abilities to give more Emity than it really should. But Emity gives you a little bit of a perspective. And so there's stuff. And if someone's dying to mechanics, you know, there's ways that you can pick up on some of that stuff. You won't have a full analyst of, you know, their play, but you'll have some information. People, I have not been playing with third-party programs for like a very, very long time. Guys, I have learned how to tell when someone's a shitty player without seeing DPS numbers. I don't know. It's not that hard.
No, you're right. It's fair. There's definitely things that you can notice. I'm just
I know the meme. I get shit on every time I talk about, hey, this guy looks like he's underperforming. How do you know, streamer? Yeah, cheating and shit.
Concern, you know?
Yeah. Well,
no, you just have an actual abacus right next to you, just calculating every single.
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, most of the stuff with performance-wise is always mechanic. Like, how much are they failing on mechanics, right? And if no one's failing on mechanics and you hit it in rage, all right, well, now we got to see what shit. The only thing you really have to do, what's so funny in those situations, is if you're hitting it in rage and no one's getting hit by mechanics, you just look at the 2 minutes, and that's it. Usually that solves everything, because if people know how to do their 2 minutes on time, they usually know how to do a rotation and go through everything normally. But past that, you don't really need too much more. And you can check their gear and their melts, you know.
Whoa, you mean people aren't using food and melds?
It's using my baked eggplant, dude. Holding me over. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of room for people to grow, and I'm wondering how the Savage is really going to test people, because what we've seen from normal is that it's mostly just like mechanics in general, just little funky mechanics people have personal responsibility for, and everything else. So I don't know. People are upset about the normal raids. Not a lot, but enough, right? And I feel like there was always going to be some vocal minority who's like really upset that they can't go into a fight and clear it on the first try.
Right. I think there's a lot of people that just have like, they want that instant gratification or something. It's like if they if they're not, if they get challenged, if there's any resistance, like it's just too hard. The game's too hard for them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problem is that I think a lot of the old fights, they didn't feel nearly as punishing, and you could get away with so much more. And now that they're like slightly turning up these normal modes, it's like the second some of these people hit these resistance points, it's like I feel so bad. I'm the only one dying, or like I'm seeing like a bunch of my friends die around me, and then there's like, oh, that one warrior that's off soloing the fucking boss, you know?
I think just people just have this aversion to dying, like it's just the end of the world. Like they didn't play FF11, all right? You didn't you didn't lose XP.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Like, I think it's funny when we do normal content. It's funny even seeing like myself die or people like I'm raiding with die. And it's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, death to me is a learning experience. So
yeah, and I mean, like, here's the thing: you're gonna fuck up and you're gonna make mistakes. I mean, I went in with pre-made groups into the experts, and we died and wiped on a couple of the bosses, right? Because we didn't know the mechanics, and then we learned the mechanics, and then we're like, oh, this is easy. And then I see people dying on it now, and I laugh at them. Not in party chat, but, you know, I laugh at them at the screen, okay? But it doesn't matter. No one really cares. I forget who they are right afterwards. It's just a fun time and content that challenges a group of players, right? And I feel like I've conquered it now, and I can kind of, you know, be content when I succeed it, and I see someone else mess it up. I'm like, well, then now they'll fucking get it next time. It's okay, and they'll feel good about it.
I'm surprised with like stuff like Elden Ring becoming more popular. That's as much as like a thing that like people don't
fight
understand.
Elden Ring, dude.
Like, that's true, because people did bitch about the DLC compared to the base game, right? So I mean that is true, but I do feel like those games have gotten quite a bit more popular. So some people understand the sense of failing maybe a little bit more. I don't know that and maybe that's just not the people who are playing 14 right now. So.
No, that is a huge issue. I think people, and it's an ego thing too, right? And so I think there is a lot of ego within a lot of players, and it's normal, it's human, to like feel embarrassed when you like die or make a mistake or something else, and it's hard to get past that for some people. But we are playing an MMO, and I feel like there should be social things that we learn and adapt to and try to overcome while playing the MMO too. I know there are harder barriers for other people than for some, but like I think it's normal. Yeah,
optional content too.
Well, yeah, it's optional. But what if doing the normal raid would give you shirtless Bakajul? Or like extra shirtless or loinclothless. I don't know. What if it shows his third head?
Damn, what the? Huh?
Well, then it's not optional anymore for a lot of players.
Whoa.
Right? Now it's not optional anymore. They have to get in there and do it.
You don't gate thirst trap content, all right? Behind normal raids.
Hold on. This has brought out some extremely horny people when it comes to the raid bosses, okay? So it's a little bit like, you know, bait besides just Baklu Jaja here. There's some crazy bait going on.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I've unfortunately looking at some stuff on you know, the social media and various other places. Just, you know.
Well, I think it's safe to say that for this expansion, that all the furries and scalies enjoyers are pretty satisfied.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know, that's perfectly fine.
Not gonna judge.
Yeah, I don't really care. Right?
It's a cat girl raid tier.
It's true. There is cat girl in there for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's literally It was just interesting. Like, as soon as the transformation was happening, I was like, this better not be a fucking horse. Just thick horse girl comes up immediately after. But
it's a cat horse, to be clear.
Is it?
It's not just a horse.
I guess so.
It's a Unikitty. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, I mean, it's pretty interesting to see there. It's not surprising at all, dude. I mean, we were here with Eden. You think the thirst was different in Eden?
Look, we had Grandpa Horse in Eden. Okay,
We did
with
have
Ramu.
We did.
people
Now-
like him. Yeah,
now
people
we're
like
getting
him.
we're getting damn. That's fucking hot horse now.
Yeah, we
in
get we
the
had
new
Daddy
raid tier.
Daddy Ramu. Now we have
That is true.
Mommy Fixion.
Yeah. This is actually not really something that is super abnormal. All raid bosses, for the most part, are designed with horny assets to it. I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of the last one that wasn't. I guess the tree. The tree baby.
Well, apparently there's a waifu on the tree somewhere.
Is there?
You're not thinking hard enough, Frosty.
What would you call like scalies and furries? What would we look at?
Barkers.
Barkies.
Barkers.
Barkies.
I don't know.
Leafies.
All right.
Arbories.
All right. Well, I mean, like, again, like, a lot of people feel like this is something they should have access to. That's why they're
Furries,
upset.
but with an I.
Oh god, dude, I can't, there's so many jokes that I'm just not gonna do. All right, this raid tier, the story itself, it's okay. You know,
There's
it's
a story.
It's a story. I'm not.
I like it more than MSQ, if I'm being honest.
I mean, that's fair. It's still
Dude.
better than MSQ, but.
Well, did you see there was like a top 10 like favorite characters and fucking Honeybee's in the top 10 and what Lamont isn't even in there? Like we just met Honeybee and Honeybee has like maybe 3 voice lines and we don't know anything about it other than, oh, this is a person that turns into a bee and we fight it.
They went crazy with that fight, though. That is the only one besides the last fight that has a voice, though. And they went nutso with that arena and like the voice lines and the design for that character. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah,
I was voice acting like just the initial quest before I even heard them, and I gave her a southern voice. So like when I'm like, oh, that's a southern name, like Honeybee, like Honeybee Lovely.
I heard the country tang, and I was just like, all right.
I get it. She's gonna be southern. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bless your heart.
I hope she is the living liquid of this tier.
So you want?
You mean like a dumpy?
The gate, the raid gate
of
this tier.
Okay, all right, for that reason.
Yeah.
So no one's gonna clear it until week 2. Then got it.
Yeah. No, that would be great, actually.
If the enrage better be final sting. Okay.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Actually, yeah.
Or what if there's an ads phase and there's final sting, like a DPS check or something?
I mean, there are Lalafell bees.
Oh god. I also like the Parappa the Rappa audience or the crowd in the background.
That's good. Yeah.
2D.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, it's a really well done fight, and the atmosphere and everything just pulls you in.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to into this fight in a second. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
But again, people are upset. If they fucking change the game and make it easier, though, I'm gonna be pretty upset.
Well, they were complaining, so it's like you can't win with some of these people. It's like first they're complaining, not enough to do, not enough to heal. Hashtag healer strike. Now it's like game's too hard, make it easier. Hashtag healer strike or hashtag I suck at the game strike. So it's like, please, you just gotta play better.
Elitist ass Llamatodd, got it.
Yeah,
it's not elitist.
Man?
It's
Christ.
when you expect the bare minimum of just play your job and do these mechanics. And it's okay to die. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to get a vuln stack and just to kind of suffer through it. Or if you die, then just watch the mechanics, get back up, do it again. Not the end of the world.
I mean, here's the thing too. If this is really going to be content that is people who want to do story, people who want to experience it, is accessible. This content's fucking accessible to everybody. It doesn't matter if you die and you're laying on the floor the entire time. You'll get past it, right? This is not a block for anyone who's just doing content to do it if they're bad at the game. You don't need to be good at the game to do it. You'll be upset that you failed and you died, maybe. But if that's the case, either try to get better or just not do it again. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think anyone who would be kind of upset about the difficulty really just needs to be okay. Right? We're playing a video game. There's challenges in video games that usually you have to overcome. So
it's okay to step away and come back another day and try again. It's not a big deal.
if you're having trouble, go gear up some more. You know?
And it's very early in the
go read a guide.
Like,
look, I'm gonna put up some party finders next week for people who are still struggling with normal mode. Okay, and I'll help you get through it. Okay. All right. I'll put up some normal mode party finders. Okay.
Thanks. Great job.
Yeah.
Good job, Farsi.
I'll help all of you.
See, Frosty is a caring soul. Even though he wants you to get good, he's telling you to get good with me.
Yeah.
I'll
help you.
We will help
you.
We want you. Yeah, we want you to get good.
Okay. Well, with that all being said, great fucking tier. First fight, I was pretty judgmental on seeing it when only seeing the first couple of mechanics because it really is stuff we've already seen for the first like couple of minutes of it, right? But then they start introducing like there's this point in that fight where it just snaps and they're just like, it's back to panels, baby, right? And they just,
a panel boss, hell yeah.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since which one was it?
E9.
E9.
Cloud of Darkness.
Yeah, and they finally brought it back, and that one, there's all of these fights we're gonna realize after this honeymoon phase. I think is that there's very easy to follow patterns, right? If you go back to Extreme 1. And those lines that are right at the beginning of the fight, that was like, holy fuck, how do I even do this? How do I remember this shit? Then you realize it's the same pattern every time, right? And so I haven't actually looked to see if it's the same pattern every single time with the normal mode, but I assume there's a couple patterns you could look for. And Savage will have that too, to where you can say, well, if this one glows up, then this one glows up, then I stand here, right?
It does do that for like which ones break if you're worried. It does. It's one or the other that always breaks, and usually there's like two patterns.
Yeah, so it looks intimidating. It's really not that bad, right? And so I think the first experience of it is supposed to shock you, and then after, if you figure it out, then it's not so bad.
I think most people are gonna fall through like the tile their first try, or the first time they get targeted to get knocked into a tile, or like they might fall off the arena. And then you do it enough times, and then you're intentionally trying to kill your friends.
There's some videos of people having to stab for the line marker.
Yeah,
and then the person group smashes the one below the whole party, and they just
I died laughing.
Good.
See, that happened to me with just like random Q or something. I would love that. I wouldn't be mad at all.
I didn't have it. I like
be the best ever.
I was practicing that fight and just to like get used to all the mechanics on all of them, and that never happened. I was actually disappointed. I was like, where is it happening? Why is this show on Twitter? Like, why is everyone being good?
Well, maybe you need to be the person that tries to kill everyone.
True. But then everyone would be like, look at the streamer clipped, post on Twitter griefing intentionally.
He's using us for content. Damn right.
Yeah.
I'll kill you all.
It's good, dude. I think that like just them introducing the tile mechanic is going to make it really intriguing to know how, because they have so much room to work with, right? That literally they could do anything. They can make it to where if you stand on it too long, it breaks. They can make it where if you get hit by other mechanics that don't break it now, maybe it'll break it in Savage, right? Just that one mechanic alone adds a ton of puzzles for the fight.
So it has like the Devour mechanic in that fight that's really, really similar to Devour. And I'm curious if that'll happen while the tiles are broken, or that itself will break tiles. So you have to actually like plan your tiles out a little bit, maybe, or something.
That
Yeah,
has
it's
to
probably
be
gonna be
it.
like 2 tiles left or something.
What
Yeah.
was Shinryu? Did Shinryu do something similar to that too?
You had to break the tail before it smashed the tile
Yep.
on Shinryu.
Okay. Yeah, there was I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of plan breaks, and I'm just wondering if this is gonna be like the limit cut that P9S had. Alright. Where it's gonna make or break a good handful of groups, and all groups are just gonna be stuck on it, and they're just gonna constantly wipe on whatever the devour breaking around mechanic is. Maybe that's it. I don't know. He does repair the arena in normal mode. I wonder if maybe he doesn't repair all the slots in Savage too.
I think it depends on how quickly they want you to deal with managing it. Like, I imagine the end of the fight is going to be closer to managing that, and that could even be the enrage. Like, gradually losing more and more tiles like Fall Guys style, and not actually like a super hardened rage. I mean, hardened rage is losing all of them, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you were cutting yourself off gradually, but like, I imagine there's got to be a repair at some point if they want to rely on the knocking person up and breaking tiles like throughout the whole fight. Like, it's hard to say though.
I mean, they're absolutely going to repair tiles in some way. there's not going to be the whole fight managing. Like, it's going to be like half the fight you manage a set, they repair them all, then the next half you have to manage another set or something like that. There's no way they would do the whole fight without repairing it. If they do, then they're going to lose a lot of players, a lot of story players.
They're not story players at that point if they're doing Savage, are they?
It depends on how cute the mount is, and
They don't know. They won't. They'll just complain.
Dude, get another axolotl on there, and then it's gonna be a huge mess, dude.
Ooh, I completely forgot about that. That might be a thing.
Yeah.
No. It's gonna be for our peers, and you get to ride a cat girl.
Yeah, you get to ride Fixion.
Oh yeah. Jesus. Well, I mean, I do like that this is okay. So I know a lot of really hardcore raiders hate this, but I actually like it. Where it targets you randomly, right? I don't know, hopefully it's still random in Savage if you're going to be knocked into the air or not. When you get knocked in the air, you can't attack the boss.
My uptime.
Random, by the way.
It's not random?
It switches between healers and tanks and then to DPS. So it's one phase in the early phase, it picks either tanks and healers, and then the other phase it'll pick DPS, and then it could be in reverse order. So sometimes you'll have DPS first, and the second half you'll have the tanks and healers first.
So not completely random, but still random, as in like if you're trying to get big numbers, you can't guarantee you're not going to get hit, right?
You can't get like always.
You always get hit.
Yeah.
In how it is.
Yeah. It's gonna anger a lot of barsers. Basically, if they get hit, they're like, "Well, reset."
Gosh.
Yep. I mean, I don't want the whole parsing. I'd rather do like.
I disagree. UI here. Put it in burst. Fucking make burst challenging by throwing these stupid things in there that piss people off. I'm all for it. I love Super Chain was the best place to put burst. It was so good.
Super Chain was that bad for burst.
Depends on the job you're playing. I think some jobs were much harder than others. Black Mage was a fucking ride.
Yeah, I can see that on Black Mage.
Yeah, it's teleporting all over the place, dude. It is. You teleport to a player, then back to your ley lines, to a player, and back to your... It was... Oh, that was fun, dude.
No one plays Black Mage in Prague, at least, but they're parsing, like, don't design it around them. Come on.
No, F them, dude.
We had P2S, the hippo campers, whatever, that people would hold. We'd hold their 2 minutes after cut.
I mean, there's certain points where it would make sense to do it, but everyone would have to kind of like agree to do it too.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying specifically for the log run stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sure there's spots where it absolutely makes sense. But with this fight, I do like that. I do like that there's individual hits on players too, from a healing standpoint. And so when I'm like talking about loving healing, I like being able to react to stuff. That's what makes healing fun. And so if you're putting out damage on players, it's not always going to be the same player each time, and you have to do direct heals towards them. I feel like that's a little bit more enjoyable to just spamming AoEs the entire time.
Yeah, that might actually hit pretty hard in Savage. We don't know yet, right? So that could definitely be a healer's job right there.
Yeah.
Depending on what else is going on.
I mean, you got tools to do it. You got single target tools, and those should be used in Subway, except for on the tanks, right? I'd rather not have to use it on tanks every single time. It'd be fun for an Astro to use his cards, you know, more than just a tank. Yeah.
Is the last time they did that back in, it was like T9 or something with like, there was like that, or not T9, the T10, where they had like that debuff that went on players where you had to like shield them ahead of time. Otherwise they got like paralyzed or killed or something.
They had some stuff. A lot of it's based on failure mechanics. I mean, P10 technically had some of that stuff too, right? Where people would get bleeds on them if they took
yeah.
So there was stuff like that, but they didn't like go super hard, and there was a lot of failure ones, like assuming the doom off and stuff like that. And so I think if they emphasize that stuff to where you kind of have to be a little bit more reactive as a healer, people will stop complaining about the DPS rotation on it.
Yeah,
because you're having to actively watch the field, which is kind of, I think, what healers are designed to do, is they have to keep their eyes out on everyone and what's going on. So if they do that, maybe healers will be a little bit happier with Savage. I don't know. With this fight, it's showing a little bit of it. And what else with this fight? They have the jumping around, and then they have the left, the right, and then the teleport, right? And they have the copy, where there's a copycat.
Yeah. Copy. Yeah.
It's so
I think there might be more than just one in Savage. There could be
multiple,
like 3 or more.
Yeah. I think that if they do it to where you have multiple like devours going on, or multiple like moving over, you know, like what's that dungeon that has like the ninja in it that like teleports to 2 different spots or something? I can't remember. Is it
a Criterion one?
Shadowbringers.
Was it Hero's Gauntlet? Like which one?
Yeah, I think it was like the Hero's Gauntlet. Where you have the ninja, you have the necromancer.
Oh yeah. That's Hero's Gauntlet, the second boss, right? Yeah.
Well, it might be I can't remember his first or second boss. I think it was
first or
boss.
second. Yeah, maybe it was the first boss.
But he would teleport to a spot and take his AoE out there, which is kind of what this set boss is doing a little bit. So maybe they'll up that and make it to where there's multiple spots. One where it's going to be like a Protean cleave. The other one's going to be, the circle AoE, or half room. That's what it is, half room and then Protean, right?
Yeah.
So, and then they both, like, one has a left dodge, one has a right dodge, the other one has a cardinal direction to another cardinal direction, and so you'll have to figure out how to, like, be on the right half of one of the bosses while dodging the other Protean.
They kind of did that in E9 as well, because you had like the pizza slice that you had to like find, right, because of the cloud of darkness clones.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, the cloud clones on the side of the.
Right. Oh yeah. They did have something like that too. So yeah, it wouldn't be too difficult. It could add some interesting dynamics to it, as long as they give more than 1 or 2 variations of it. It'd be good. But I think, what else with? By the way, what's the abbreviation for this tier? Is this M1?
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like M1. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like it, but like I know you suggested it, and it's in the document.
It's AACM1S.
It's M, guys. It's M. Whether we like it or not, it's in the game.
Can we use F for like furry? Just do F1.
We could.
Yeah.
Can we do F1S, F2S?
You know,
for furry, the furry tier, please. I mean, why not?
We could.
I like AC. in front of it. I know it's two letters.
It's
but
not an
I like
ultimate. It has to be one letter. Ultimates get that. That's it. The only reason ultimates get it is because there's not multiple levels, right? There's not numbers for them, right? So you're not like ultimate 1. I mean, we've kind of reverted with extremes because we want to avoid spoilers, and we do X1, X2, X3 now, right? Back in the days when Shiva came out, it was SEX. That was the abbreviation for it. I don't know if you remember that, dude. Back in AR, everybody was forming their Shiva extreme parties.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the only reason people really want it to be R is because that's what we've kind of concluded to before we knew what the actual names were going to be, and it's upsetting to see it change because you're already set on it being R, right? That's what I think. Because there's no other reason.
R like a pirate. It starts with Arcadion.
PR.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes sense to me.
The German names have R in them.
I don't mind.
See, I think this is SE just screwing with us purposely and trolling us because last year they made it easy, and this tier they're like, nah, we're gonna just fuck with the maximum level.
Yes.
Make them argue. Give them content for arguing about.
Man, it could be. It's just such a weird name. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, I don't watch a lot of fighting stuff. It probably makes a lot more sense, like, in the fighting world of how they named everything. But it seems overdone. Like, what? M is for match, obviously, right?
Yeah. The R also could work as a ranking.
Along
round, as you go.
All right.
Around, yeah.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I literally have no fucking control over it. It will be whatever the community says. But M is what I'm going with right now, and so, unless the community forces it another way or another, right? That's always, I have to adopt with whatever the community does. But M is the only thing that it seems like it makes sense, and if people use it, then that is what is going to be used.
Kind of like R.
I know. Well, all right. Well, M1. I don't know if there's anything else about that fight that stood out to me mechanically. I think those were all the major points, yeah?
Yeah. I think we covered it quite a bit.
Then going into M2, which is everybody's favorite, which has been literally the highlight for everybody this entire...
It's one of the good ones, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that everybody keeps talking about.
4 and 2.
2. Yeah, R2, you said?
R2.
Oh, sure. Okay. All right. What do you guys think about this fight? Okay, just give me your unbiased opinions.
Unbiased?
Yeah, give me unbiased.
Is this gonna be like full biased?
All right, give me your all biased opinions.
Okay,
then.
okay. I stupidly like my idol trash when it comes to anime, and it fits everything that I want with a song and everything in design for the character. It checks all my anime boxes. So I'm all for it. And it has, like, her mechanics are she wants you to fall in love with her. Well, I think she's put her charm on the whole entire community, and I haven't seen a lot of people outside of a few people say it's annoying. So, you know, I'm all good for it.
Yeah, I think we like doubled down on the weeb game thing. So anytime like we get one of those WoW raiders that comes over and says, "Oh, you got a weeb game, let's show them this fight," and we're like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Yeah, yeah, probably right.
This is a great example. It's like, yeah,
and you're like,
we're not afraid to. You know, I'm tired of pretending that we don't like it.
You know, it's fine. We got a weeb game. You got a shit game. And they just show them a picture of World of Warcraft, and you're good.
Okay.
It's what Final Fantasy does best when it comes to the MMO, at least. So embrace it.
Yeah. Just kidding. WoW, you're great. You're fine. Everybody from the WoW community, you're fantastic.
Boom, roasted.
Absolutely. Best MMO. Anyways, Final Fantasy 14. Anime goes really well with it.
Sure.
Look, we can have a debate. Like, look, this is the anime game. WoW's the furry game. We're trying to steal the furry game now away from WoW too. So you know,
They're probably getting a little upset. They're like, wait a minute.
Maybe that's what it
Furries
is.
our thing.
True. Well, to be fair, some of the races that they would introduce in WoW are a billion times more interesting than any race that we would introduce in this game ever. So I don't know. Why did we don't need to get into this WoW versus Final Fantasy 14 thing? Okay.
No.
All right.
Hey, I wasn't the one that like.
Don't bring this up, Todd.
I think it was you, Frosty.
Don't bring this up, Todd.
Yeah, what does
The
it mean?
instigator.
Yeah, you said that thing.
Oh, no. You brought up your conversation. I gave it a hypothetical. It was based off your conversation. All right.
Look, you know, talking to all the Echo people since they came up from WoW, I know you're like probably like internally having a little frustration there with them. So
No.
Yeah, they're gonna be racing.
You know what? Yeah, F them, man. F them. Yeah, no.
They have their
I
own
love Echo,
coverage,
dude.
too.
I
They
love
don't need
Echo
us.
so much. I really do. They're like one of the few like, I guess like esports like companies that came to this game and stuck around.
Yeah.
So I have
They love the raids.
a lot of
It's good
respect
to
for
see.
Echo. I can't say anything bad about them. I've talked to them plenty too, and they're always
mhm.
great to talk to. So, anyways,
That'll bring in some more people from WoW, that game you hate.
yeah, I think so. I mean, all right, guys, we're talking about M2. All right, we're talking about a little bee, a southern bee. Okay, and so I think when I saw this, I'll be honest, during the story cutscenes and everything, and they showed off every character, I just like, this is so stupid. They're just like cookie cutter, like tropey personalities. Each one of these fights, I was like, all right, I get it. We got the ambitious Makote, the overly like flirtatious other personality, and then we have the I'm the hardcore best in the world personality, right? And so
We have the heel. We also have the heel that has bomb
that's
face,
it. Yeah, the heel.
bomb nipples.
Yeah. And so it had a little sigh, but I understood what was happening, and I was fine with it. This boss, I think getting into it, I might have had the most troubles with it. I think the community has had the most trouble with it mechanically because it involves not messing up, right? And dodging.
Well, I think
A lot?
it's probably the part that gave people trouble is maybe like all the AoE baiting and dodging.
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
Byakuo
It's the Barbacia
heart
whatever
balls.
stuff,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Well, those
Huh.
tells are pretty. I think follow, but I think it's just the dodging, the Byakuo.
I think they're pretty forgiving. Like I've gone through like in between those like the bubbles like pretty easily. Like even when they're really close together.
Yeah.
Like as long as you're like quick to get through them, like I think it's pretty forgiving. Like obviously it depends on your ping, but it's way more forgiving than the dungeons like leaping like mobs, right? So like I think it's literally just a skill issue. Get good situation, like just get used to dodging them, or if you need to pull off the boss to survive, do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Savage will probably have like an extra component to that.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
so
that-
hard
that-
for melee.
That heart debuff or something is you have to like maintain. Like
I'm curious if it would be a lot of personal responsibility comparatively on the Savage end, where versus like how it is in normal mode, because it's extremely just personal responsibility to keep yourself alive in those in
Sure.
that section. But I'm curious if they'll do something similar in Savage, because I think normally most of the time Savage is not really team based, right? So I think that's maybe harder to keep that personal like responsibility there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I also, it is, there's stuff that you can plan out within a lot of jobs rotations to where we're dealing with a high movement, high crazy thing. You got True North, you got some of these abilities, like you could start making it to where, hey, we're dealing with a lot of movement, let's still do a lot of damage. Casters have like some of their insta-casts they could probably use, but these phases last so long that you can't only do those things, right? you're still gonna have to go in there and try to get a positional. You're still gonna have to try to do a couple of casts to not get hit. And I think that's actually going to be really good design in general, because instead of just having a cheat button, you're like, oh, I need to do all my movement cheating here. You do your movement cheating, but you still have to plan out some level of like casting or positionals or whatever else. So it doesn't completely nullify the mechanics. Like in EX1, they have the knockback thing, and I'm like, why do we even have it? Why is there even the knockback mechanic in that fight? Because it's literally the only spot you put it, and it negates the entire thing.
I think it might be more important in Savage, is what it's going to come down to.
Well, I mean, sorry, in the Extreme 1.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, with the knockback and everything. And so I think, yeah, hopefully if they introduce that kind of stuff, like knockbacks and everything, you have to decide which ones you're going to knock back instead of just, I knock back this and ignore the difficulty of the mechanic completely. I think that's kind of dull.
Yeah, we had that with like Titan Savage, right? You had like the 2 knockbacks. One you had to like cancel with the gap closer, or you just had to angle yourself correctly.
Yeah, there's a couple spots with it.
One you could use your answer back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the heart system is going to be the big thing to watch for, especially when it comes to Savage, because you get 3 hearts or whatever, and you have to intentionally get hit by some stuff.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a lot of that baiting. And if you do accidentally get hit by something, then you can't execute a mechanic, I guess. Like, you won't be able to grab a tower because you're stunned. I don't know, because it resets the hearts here.
Will it actually stun you or kill you in Savage, or what? Will it do more like a brainwash thing like WoW has, where it like makes you attack your allies?
Just confusion, yeah.
Yeah. What's gonna happen there?
Yeah, I feel like the seduction definitely has to happen on that. There's no doubt. You know, one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know, haven't really looked into it a lot, but when you mess up mechanics, there's like this concussion thing, right? So if you mess up like too many mechanics, you actually get stunned. I actually don't know, because I don't think I've messed up enough for it.
Yeah, I've
only noticed.
I'm just too good at the game.
I've only noticed that in 3. When
only 3? I thought it was in more than 3. I think I've seen it in more than 3. I could be wrong.
Well, like, the B does it in the sense of the hearts, but whenever he specifically charges across with Lariat in 3, that's the only other time I've seen that.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it.
It's an Extreme 1. Oh, the Trials have them too.
Oh, okay.
Which, I'm guessing if you just, like, mess up a certain amount of times in a row, it just does something, executes something. I don't know. So
just punishes you.
Just punishes you. There's
even more.
Which seems to be new, because I don't remember seeing that happen like in this many fights in a row before. So it seems like something that they're going to start putting in a lot of fights moving forward. Man, I want to go and see if it's the exact same thing like if you get hit 3 times, you're done or whatever. I don't know. I wish I knew what it was.
Maybe it's just another way to deal with, as opposed to just giving people damage downs, because it's a little bit more flavor when you do mess up, right? Like you're stunned, and you might not be able to dodge this next mechanic or something, your DPS losses because you just can't do anything. Like,
yeah.
I
do like damage downs.
Damage downs.
Damage downs are real good.
Yeah. It makes you respect the mechanics. I mean, but I guess in this sense, you're gonna have to respect it if you can't control your character.
Yeah.
Gives you a bit more leeway. Otherwise, it's just Vuln stack. Okay, yeah, healers can put that out.
I don't know if I'm maybe seeing something wrong, but there was also something where when you do get hit by like the hearts in like the bullet like hell area with like a lot of hearts, it also gives a dot. Or I've seen a lot more like dots and stuff in general, just like come out for punishment as well. I don't know if that's like gonna be a thing.
Probably. I mean, we have a lot of tools to mitigate dots too on the healer side, so it would make sense that they try to do that to where someone's going to get a dot if they mess up enough, and that's going to be one way that you have to. The thing is, I don't like that as much because that just means that the DPS don't care, right?
But the healer strike, Frosty.
Yeah, healers.
To
What do you
heal
mean?
more.
Exactly. We're giving the healers stuff to heal and do.
I like it to
Use your
punish
cooldown.
the player for messing up instead of punishing the healers in those cases, right? I like there to be some player punishment. I like the healers having to like fix mistakes and stuff, but like, I guess with that case, if they die, you're like, well, couldn't get to you in time. Sorry, don't fuck up next time. And I mean, that's just a conversation. But
Well, I have just noticed in general, like there has been felt like there was more incoming damage just in general throughout like most fights in Dawntrail, though, like that are like constant damage, even though it's not that much. But like an example is like, you know, the third trial has like constant like damage when it has like the grid flooring that kind of goes like all crazy. There's like a
love that.
dot that's on the whole entire party during that. So like maybe they're
right.
kind
The
of
permadot,
doing
right?
that kind of stuff too, where like to help with the healers, you know, have to heal more actually.
You know,
like, or,
that is actually kind of neat. I know they have light dots, especially in X1 has some light dots too, all over it, which means that Pepsis could probably finally be used. I'm kind of excited for that. Getting some use out of that freaking ability, dude. But yeah, having like damage that goes out that doesn't necessarily break a shield, but wears down a shield is I'm all for it. But yeah, with this one, I'm trying to think what else. I think that's really the Lalafell bees, dude.
she puts poisons on her weapon.
Oh, does
and
she?
then that determines what like she has like effects after. So she has like the donut AoE. If she poisoned her weapon, it places like the honey all over in a very specific like positions around the arena. And so that one is like you have to run out because like all the center has like 4 like spread out, and there's like 4 corners that are like free. And then if she does the one that's like a line, like a hot tail kind of mechanic, it makes a pattern where there's like spots like right next to her in like diagonal positions where you can kind of stand in. But that's the other thing, that maybe her imbuing her weapon with like the honey / poison thing might be more utilized in Savage.
Huh. I guess we'll see. Oh, you know what? We started 30 minutes late. I guess real quick little side question. Do any of you guys have a very hard time to leave in the next 18 minutes?
Not necessarily. Why?
Okay, because I'd have to start wrapping up the conversation if that was the case. Because if it was 2 hours, in the next 18 minutes, that would have been 2 hours from our original start times.
Right.
I have a pretty big stream at 10 o'clock, but so I got quite a bit of time.
All right, cool. Got glamour stuff, I'm sure. All right, all right. So with M2,
It's not important.
M2, yeah, the dodging of the puddles on the ground and everything else, and with the honey that gets thrown around the arena, and the Lalafell bees, some of them target players, so you might have to do some aiming for that, I'm sure. And it's, you know, they kind of, I guess that's sort of like a limit cut in a way. You target one and you target another. So maybe it might be a situation to where like you have to like aim all the little Lalafell bees into one area, and then once you aim it, you move to a safe spot afterwards, and like you group up and you just kind of. Yeah, I think.
Were those actually targeting players when they?
One does. Some of them do. There's one phase of them that they do target players. I'm fairly confident, unless if it's just.
I always felt, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it felt not full random, but it didn't feel like it was targeting people, at least when I did it. But maybe it is actually targeting people, and you can bait them, and it's just unnoticeable because it's like normal mode.
People are just fucking running around all over the place the entire time.
Exactly.
Right.
Have you the other thing in this fight? I feel like during that specific like B phase, I feel like they've made it so tanks need to position way more carefully. because of that. Like, and that's kind of the case with throughout like a lot of these fights.
Actually, now that you
Smaller
talk about
hitboxes,
it,
too.
how many of these fights are arena off the side bosses?
0.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah.
There's particular sections of them where they're on the side of the wall, but
Right.
not
Which
full
one?
on. Well, like the horse at the end, and when she has like the laser cannon, she just stays on the wall, and you can hit her omnidirectional.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
then like, but like during the like not the whole entire fight.
yeah. But most of the fight that you're actually moving the boss around and you're positioning the boss. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
There are a couple like positioning resets, but most of it seems to be like just you're not fighting a boss on the side of the arena the entire time. So that could grow into some interesting mechanics that tanks will have to deal with, at least with positioning on the bosses too. That's good. That's good. I'm also kind of excited with the arenas they did. 3 of the arenas are square, and only 1 is a circle. Right?
So I think the third one, and if you want me to save this until later, I can talk about. There's 2 of them that I think there's a little bit more to them than what's meets the eye.
I mean, yeah, going into the third one is the most underwhelming one, I think. Out of all of them.
If you look at it though on the map, it doesn't utilize the whole actual map, and there is way more defined, like detailed grills and like stuff under the arena in that like fire area that you can't get to. So I definitely think it's going to use more of the arena there.
I hope so, because it will be completely sad if it doesn't use more of the arena, because it's like we're in the middle of like a 9 square arena, right? It's almost what it feels like. And so I'm assuming that some things are going to catch on fire and we're going to have to move to this side or we'll have to move to that side. And there's also lots of these circle designs like I think you were talking about too, all over the middle that we didn't see any mechanics that correlate with them. I'm sure we will see some that correlate with them later on. So
there's also in the 4th turn in relation to arenas, there is, if you look at the map, there's actually 2 platforms.
On which one?
In the 4th map, there is 2 platforms. You can't get to the other one.
There's a lot of platforms actually on that one, right? It's all around.
No, like it's defined on the map.
Oh, it's defined on the map. Well, that's probably where you're going to go for phase 5 or the second phase, right?
Could be. Just there's like actually 2
we actually never get on.
Right, we never go on it.
Yeah, during the normal one for sure. Yeah. Okay, so M3. I guess if we're gonna get into that one, I mean that's the big thing to talk about. It's just like it's a huge area with tons of fire everywhere. That right now this is not making use out of it, but it looks like absolutely it's something they're gonna make use out of. There isn't like the most interesting thing I think about that fight is the knockback towers. Everything else is pretty standard, straightforward, isn't it?
They pair a lot of mechanics together with the lariat when he dashes across. That is probably going to be what they do a lot of, because like they create a lot of like void zones below players that you have to bait properly if you want to avoid the lariat properly, and then also dealing with the other mechanics. But at least with a knockback, you can just anti-knockback all of them, which is hopefully not going to be the case in Savage.
Yeah. Yeah, that would suck. Or that you want to intentionally be knocked into a certain area, probably with some of it. So yeah, I guess we'll see. It's pretty standard. I mean, the combo stuff could make things very interesting, but they're gonna have to do a lot more than just combos, I think. Step it up.
That'll have probably a bit more complicated.
The bombs, I guess they could do like more bombs with more timings on them instead of just the 2. Have a few different sizes that you have to keep up with. That'll piss off a lot of people, I'm sure. But it could be interesting.
So when he does the lariat, when he like bounces off like the wall, I feel like that's definitely gonna get like maybe not just like straightforward back and forth. I feel like he's gonna bounce all over the arena with like the ring and stuff a lot more since he's like wrestler themed.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Or a lot faster too. Or like maybe 2 at once. There's only like a quarter of the arena safe.
Oh yeah, yeah. He'll do a copy or something too.
Could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll get the little
steal
robot
share.
guy. Will come back.
Oh.
You know, for revenge. I don't know.
No, the robot's gonna tag team with him instead of calling it a violation. You have to fight the robot and him at the same time.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Just like turn into evil mode ref. Yeah. All right. God, what else? I'm trying to think of anything else with that one.
Yeah, that one's rough, I think.
Yeah.
Because of it's so plain, at least comparative to the other ones in like normal mode. That's the one I've struggled with, like trying to like think about like what are they gonna actually do here.
Well, likely they'll get super creative. Well, I don't know. P11S wasn't very creative.
It's tough because like I feel like the third fight a lot of times is like you're like supposed to be like your DPS check / really good mechanic check at the same time, like all combined, and it's like a really, you know, like gateway to the fourth fight. So I have to think they're gonna go a little bit harder with it, and they're just hiding everything for Savage. Like there's maybe we'll be surprised and it'll be nothing, nothing, but
kill one of the or destroy one of the bombs and create a safe spot
yeah, maybe.
type situation.
I'm fairly confident this voice actor is also the same as Grinwald.
Oh yeah, he does kind of sound like him.
Because he says "boom" as well.
Yeah, it does sound like
exactly the same, like everything. I'm fairly confident it's Grinwald. I don't think they've made that public anywhere, but it would be nice to know.
They've used a lot more voice actors like repetitively for like various like for example, the 24-man last expansion had like some of the Scions that had and some like the voice actors that are like later on are also being utilized now in Dawntrail. Like Lyman, I believe, is the fourth boss's voice actor too.
Who?
The last Lyman, the water girl that steps on you.
Yeah, one of the 12.
Like when you blow her a kiss.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking? I don't know.
She has like the spear, and then the arena turns into like a T when you.
Oh
get,
yeah.
It's one of the 12.
Got it.
Got it. Has it. I don't know how to say it.
Limlayan.
Limlayan. Okay, thank you.
Limlayan.
Yeah. But so Grinwald is one of my favorite voice actors in this entire game, so I'm happy to see him back.
That's good.
If that's the case, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we can just go on to M4 here because I don't know if there's really much more to talk about with M3. It's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
M4 has a good handful of things that we could talk about. Just with how they're kind of designing that fight, it seems. They're definitely gonna do. They're loving half room cleaves all over this raids here.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yep.
Holy crap. Now that I think about it, Honeybee's the only one that doesn't have a half room cleave, right?
Remember, I don't think so.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. Every single other one has a half room cleave. And that's absolutely just silly to me. But they're gonna do it a lot, right? And so they're gonna do the the quarter cleave, I guess she does. It's like a cone in front of her. There's you know what? Step back to M3 real quick. The other one mechanic that I'm remembering now is the poison mechanic. That he has.
Oh, it's like the pie slice in the back is safe.
Yeah, the pie slice in the back is safe. Maybe.
Oh man,
it won't be safe at all.
He had the what was it? The emerald weapon bullshit that I hate with the in out going around in a circle.
Oh yeah, that's fun. That's you know what's funny?
Yeah.
God, I hate that.
It's not even that hard.
No, but it is
because all you do is you dodge the first one, and then you go to where the first one was, and you just dodge the circle in and out there.
It's not hard to dodge. The problem is they put the safe spot just on the edge of max melee, and it sometimes you just like are teetering right in, and it's like it's like tempting you to go into the middle or like get hit by the AoE. Like you have to be really careful with it.
Perfect.
Like for that part.
That's what I like to see, dude. Okay. Yeah. So I think the only reason I bring up the poison part is I think that there might be some more like poison-like mechanics that we will have to deal with in that fight. Maybe we'll have to go step on a drain somewhere to stop the poison.
You know, it does look very similar to A7S.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I could see it. Put people in cages and stuff too. Wouldn't it be far off, dude?
Poison cages. Okay.
Yeah.
Personal cage match in the middle of the match.
Yeah, cage match.
Oh. Okay. So M4. Sorry, I was just remembering that. But M4 has a lot of lightning-like mechanics. The big thing again is the half-room cleave, then multiple copies that do all half-room cleaves, so you got to dodge and go around. And then she has, I'm going to kill 3 rows, and you have 1 row that's safe. And it's either left or right. The neat thing about that is players who can get in position quickly take no damage, and people who are a little bit lag behind take some damage.
Or
and
greedy
so
melee. Yeah.
yeah, it makes it
just out of melee range. Like just
it makes it actually kind of interesting for healers, because that means you're gonna have to heal people who are a little bit slower on the draw, and so that gives another variation of making healers more interesting, I guess. So there's that, and then what else? There's the copy with the lines, the lasers that go down the
grid.
The grid. Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem too bad. It's a little annoying,
and the big laser like healer check. Just like sustained damage.
Oh, that's like at the end. That's like sort of a semi-enraged thing.
Maybe they have that more often.
True.
I would bet that when since there's a clone, it splits off. There might be 2-sided like laser things.
Oh, like Leviathan.
Leviathan's exactly what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably, I can see that. And then the other part is the memorization of the cannons going back and forth.
Yeah.
And those are tight movements too. It's not like you can't be slow.
Mm-hmm.
So, those will be kind of fun. I mean, it's not a hard memory game, but remembering 5 lasers can be a little bit annoying.
You would be surprised the number of people who die there when I've been doing on like in Duty Finder. It's crazy. Like,
I mean, all you have to do is just miss one, and you're like, well, I guess I'm fucked. Hopefully, I don't know where I'm at. Right?
You have to pray for your healer to heal you because of the dot.
Yeah. And so I think that could be, it's going to be a lot of fun to try to heal people up with that. Yeah, and what else?
I've seen people get baited. Like you'll have the whole party go across, even though it's gonna double on the same side again. One person runs over, and then the whole party follows them, and it just nukes half the party. Just because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just following people.
Yeah, it's the crowdsourcing strategy.
Yep.
Oh man. But I do think there's a lot of room for making this fight into a pretty crazy fight. You did say about the second platform as well. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna, like, in the base fight, have to jump between 2 different platforms.
Do you think it'll have a door boss altogether, though?
Yeah,
or will
it could be a
100%.
Shiva thing.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They are happy with the door bosses they've done so far. I think if they didn't do a door boss, people would quit the game.
Really?
Yeah, I think we'd lose a good chunk of raiders.
I've seen mixed opinions on that whenever I've talked about it. So granted, maybe not from the extreme ultimate raiders, but you know,
don't question mark me, fucking chat. God, just triggering shit.
Would like just no door boss, just kind of a second part like Shiva.
Yeah, I was thinking Titan and Shiva could be a possibility. Like,
what
if they, for this expansion, they did 2 non-door
So
bosses?
many people complained about Shiva. All right, a lot of people like Titan.
I love Shiva. Even Titan.
I like Titan and Shiva. I don't know
I
what
mean,
you're
no,
talking
people
about.
complained about it being
add
like
more question marks.
a minute in the fucking middle of the fight, dude, where you're just sitting there and you're just kind of waiting, and that transition, and it's just so exhausting when you fail and you have to go back and do the Ilya strat again. Everyone's all pissed off and angry, and so like a lot of people didn't clear that fight, right? It was a good fight. I liked the fight, but I feel like the community didn't. It had mixed reactions. It was just one of those walls that people couldn't get past. I feel like Titan, I can't remember if people had a lot of issues getting past that or not. I feel like that could have been a fairly solid fight, but it didn't feel like it was that long. If I remember right, it wasn't really a long fight in comparison to a lot of 4 fights that we get, right?
I guess I like the spectacle of the Titan fight quite a bit, like with Titan maximum,
Yeah.
and then also having to fight him at the same, like the mini Titan plus
that's cool.
the big Titan the same time. I think it's fucking hell, like so cool. So
no, it was good. I love those fights. I want to be clear. I love these fights, but I'm just saying we're already having people complain about normal mode. I don't know. Like when we step it up to Savage, we'll get the next level of people who complain, right? The people who just kind of skirt through Savage stuff, they'll start complaining about it. And so I think what the second phase offers is a chance for them, one, to make a really cool cutscene and new model for a boss, right? And that gets people hyped and excited, and it's a break point, and people are just so fucking excited to get to that point and then move forward. What sucks, of course, is progging that in Party Finder and then going into groups trying to get into phase 2 and they never make it and they're just going to be upset. So that's the downside to it. So for you, what is the downside for having a door boss?
Downside?
Yeah, what's having a down boss? Why is it a bad thing?
I don't necessarily think there's anything bad about it. I mean, maybe it's just probably just preference. I'd say.
I personally think door bosses raise tension in PF more than a straightforward boss, at least in my experience, because people are way more snappy to leave if you don't meet the door boss on the first go. So this is just a PF standard like thing. I'm not talking about like in statics or like world first or anything like that, but I think there is a lot more tension caused by the door boss.
Yeah, like use one food, get to door boss, otherwise just...
I mean that will just change to one food get to mechanic so and so, right?
True. Yeah.
I think it's like what sucks the most in Party Finder with it having a second phase is getting to the second phase and someone's like, "Oh yeah, I only had 20 minutes for this dungeon." They get in, right?
Too.
And they bail. That sucks ass, right? Because it's such like a thing to get past that first phase, and then people just bailing like after a couple pulls on the second phase. That's absolutely miserable. So I get that aspect sucks a lot.
I had that happen a lot more in P8S than I did in P12S when I was doing it in Party Finder, but it did occasionally happen in P12S too. So, I mean, if you didn't pass Cloric within a certain amount of times, like people would rage out and leave like really quickly. So I mean, but I did notice it more on P8S.
Yeah, I mean, it was P8S was rough because the snake stuff too, right? And then like you have the RNG of which one it's going to be at the end, all that great shit. And so if you have a longer instance or shorter instance, I guess, what was it? Something like that.
The thing they've left the loot mostly the same when there is a door boss, and I feel like they still should give some type of loot incentive because you're doing technically 2 fights, but that's much more minor in my mind. Get good.
You don't get any loot.
More drops.
No. Like not for beating like the door boss, but like for beating the whole fight.
Yeah, the whole fight.
You mean the whole fight? So they should get 2 axolotl mounts.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Like after you beat the fight, you're gonna go back and beat it again. What's wrong with 2 axolotls?
Okay, got it. I don't know. I don't think I really care one way or another. To be completely honest, I don't care if there's a door boss or not. It's not going to affect me. but I do think that I love the transition, right? And
Oh,
so as
yeah.
long as they actually add that extra transition into something new and exciting, spectator-wise, that's what I'm looking for. If they don't do anything like that, then it's boring. So, Titan had it. Titan did it well, where they had multiple transitions in there that were exciting to see. So
I think without a doubt there will be some type of transition because she already transforms in normal mode. Like, there's no way she doesn't do something like absolutely
Even
huge
bigger
with the
horse.
electropes, right?
With even
Like
bigger
maybe
booba.
she turns into a giant mech for the side
Yeah.
boss or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Well, I'm sure it'll revolve around the whole like souls thing.
I mean, she tried to take our soul, right?
Yeah.
It's true.
So maybe there's something involved with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Look, the guy who is like the savage guy, or it seemingly is the savage guy, is like a manga artist or like comic artist. Of course, he's gonna throw some like crazy anime tropes like into that part of it, right? For the theming.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, with the electropes, whatever they were doing, she basically like, if you want wings, just make them. And then she just makes a fucking cannon. There has to be like a whole combination of things.
Megazord,
Yeah,
all of them together.
I don't know what those mechanics are going to be, but they have a lot of room to be creative with it. I'm sure those animations are not cheap. Those, I don't know, game development wise, but I'm sure the square whatever animations where you're trying to make stuff build itself and get created, it's not that easy to make those. So I don't know how many they would actually make.
It looks
Cool.
very cool, though, to be honest. I really think the presentation is like they went hard as hell on this.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so, man. Great.
What else with this fight? Was there any mechanics that we missed on that?
There's the thing where she jumps down and makes a bunch of clones over and over again with like AoEs, like
Yeah,
where you can drag the
AoEs in
boss
a
around.
spiral kind of, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had like a similar mechanic to that in God, what was the last the
Oh yeah, the
lunar...
dungeon. Yeah, where it like spirals in one set and then like the other set.
Yeah, I couldn't whatever that boss was.
Okay.
That they repeated that. I can't.
I have
think of
no
anything
clue
That
what
was the
you're-
western.
actually,
That
I'm
was that
blanking.
western dungeon. It was,
Western one. With
First boss.
the serpent. No, the first boss, which is the cactar boss.
Oh, no, I was talking about from last expansion.
Oh, last
at-
expansion.
The
Okay.
lunar subterranean has like the last boss has a similar like mechanic where he drops all the AoEs in like a ring or like a spiral.
Oh, the spiral thing. Oh,
the
yeah.
spiral,
What
yeah.
killed you in the video? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's
Sure, that killed me.
yeah. That one's actually pretty easy to dodge. You just go to where the first. Let me tell you, Kai. Kai, if you'd like,
pull it properly.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, there's uptime. What job do you play? Just to make sure I'm fully aware.
Viper, but I know I can
Viper,
detach from the dice.
Can you? Do you have movement abilities with Viper, where you can like?
Yes,
you know,
but I
move
still have to lose my auto attack cert. Like,
Wait,
look,
you
just
lose your audio?
could pull it
Do you
properly.
save your? You have that one ranged
Coiled,
ability.
yes. I know,
Yeah,
I know.
Okay, you get 3 stacks of that, right? Just to
I've
make
learned.
3
I've
GCDs.
learned. That was my first time doing it.
Okay,
you know?
no, that's fine. I'm just making sure. When I see a player who's not properly executing things, I try to educate them so they're a better player.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Frosty. I'm so prepared for Savage now. I will make sure to use my uncoiled stacks and properly for movement. I will make sure. But just to be safe, I do have my range attack. Just if I run out of uncoiled.
You gotta just if you mess up, you still have a range. You can tap it,
and it doesn't ruin my combos anymore.
You're right. But yeah, you just go to where the first one is. Once it explodes, you move over and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna make you play melee.
I've played melee. I hate it. I hate it. I am
skill issue to me.
It is
Frosty.
a skill issue.
I don't know.
It is literally the hardest job to play, unless if it's an off the side boss, right? If you don't have to do positionals, it's very easy. But doing positionals, hardest fucking role in the game, dude.
You think so?
I do not.
Black Mages, at least last expansion.
Black Mage was easier for me.
I
had so much of an easier time with Black Mage than I did with any of them. I played every job last expansion, the hardest one for me was Monk, and that was just because of how the old design was, where you had to keep up with the dot, your personal buff, and then the back and forth from the first hit, right? And it was just a pain in the butt.
I have a proposition for chat to bully you with.
Sure.
The next time you have a world race that has a donation incentive, why not make the donation incentive that you have to beat an ultimate on a melee?
Okay. Do you know how long it took me to beat top?
The new ultimate.
Yeah. Do Eden on melee.
That sounds absolutely miserable, dude. Without a doubt.
The more miserable it is, I guess the more donations you'll get.
That sounds absolutely miserable. Like, I couldn't think of anything that would be more painful. Especially if we get Shiva slides.
Oh yeah, and look away mirrors too.
Yeah.
On melee.
But I do think. See, that's why Picto's so much fun, dude. Like, if you could even like optimize when you look away doing paintings and stuff, dude. It's good. But yeah, no, I think that if I was gonna rank the roles, melee's the hardest. Then I would say maybe casting is like the next hardest, right? Then maybe healing, then tanks, then physical range is the easiest. And that is listed on the opinion that you are not scared to tank and you're not scared to heal.
I think,
that changes it.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate to what I'd say as well.
Yeah.
Outside of melee.
Melee is just hard to execute. It's hard to, like, it's literally just lots of difficult execution, I think. Because when you're doing positions with bosses, especially with this tier that's going to come up, when you're doing positions, you're going to have to find where those little safe spots are every single fucking time. And when you're going to actually use True North, when you're actually going to have to try to get your positionals when you're not. And I feel like all that thought process is way harder than, like, any other role that is dealing with stuff. Like, what are you thinking about on tank, right? I got to move the boss over here and use my cooldowns at this point, and I guess it might be a little hard to do my DPS rotation while trying to mitigate at the same time. That's tank.
I think a lot of that has came down to, though, the bosses as of the last expansion had such huge hitboxes, and you really didn't need to worry about positioning as much. If they keep consistent with, like, the hitboxes being smaller, how they have been for the normal modes, and they don't use a lot of wall bosses, I think positioning is going to be way more important to the tank role, and it could go back to being more difficult, but at least compared to last expansion, that I'd say it's not too difficult in my mind. But I don't think it's supposed to be. It's more on mitigating and
the stress. If you mess up, you wipe the raid sometimes. I mean, that's
true. But that's there's enough jump rope mechanics that, like, wipe the whole party now, you know? Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I see most tanks struggling with is doing the fucking ready check and countdown, dude. I can't tell you how many groups this expansion we've gone in and we just sit there. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm doing the ready check now, right?
Maybe an extreme? Because, like, normal, I don't expect anyone.
Extremes, yeah, extremes, dude. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, extreme and savage, yeah, you expect.
Just the tank, if you're a tank, guys, just do the ready check, do the countdown. I know other people can do it. Anyone could do it, but the tanks are the one that throw the first hitter. They're supposed to be able to throw the first hit, right? Everyone's hitting at the exact same time, but the tank has to be ready to go or people start dying, right? If they don't throw the first hit, people will start getting big hits on them and die. So, I don't know. Okay, all right. Anyways, going back to this, healers are easy because the rotation's fairly easy, except for, like, Astro, I guess. It's a little bit rough on it. And most of the stress comes from like the recovery, and which is why I think it's fun. And then casters, you can fucking go wherever you want, basically. And you just cast. You just have to slide cast to be good at it. That's it. It's fun. It's fun though. It's fun. And Fizz Range don't have to do fucking shit. They just press buttons and run around the entire time. All right.
I think it really depends on which caster you're playing with, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Summoner doesn't have a lot of hard to cast. Yeah.
Summoner's not a caster.
No, not really. I would say it's on the easier side of the casters for sure. When I think about casters, I guess I'm mostly thinking about Picto Black Mage. I'm not really thinking about Summoner as much. Although I do have concern that Picto Black Mages are definitely going to get the boot, dude.
You think so?
I think they're going to get the Party Finder's going to boot them.
Do you think that it will be such an extreme case where Picto does enough damage like right now, and it's so easy for them to do a lot of damage, or I would argue that it's a lot easier for them to do damage than any other job if it stays about the same balance or comparable balance.
The DPS matters.
Still allow them. Huh?
If DPS
That's true.
matters.
If the DPS matters. That's fair. That's
And
fair.
it's not good. And as the tier goes on, DPS isn't really going to matter as much.
It depends on the fight.
Yeah, it will depend on the. It does. But I feel like with
Picto's got great damage.
people dying so much, people are going to be so freaked out about not having a res, and both healers are going to die. They're going to be in enough parties where both healers die that they are going to say they need to at least have a summoner or a red mage because they're so afraid of not being able to recover, and they feel lost, and they're like, they shouldn't do it. I just know what Party Finder is likely going to do. They're going to put one caster spot, and that one caster they're going to lock to something that can res.
What if they do triple ranged?
If they are locking
Double
down, here's the thing: if they are locking for any reason at all, they are not going to go any like extra steps to where, oh well, we could do triple range instead. Oh well, we could. They're not going to do that. They're going to be 2 melee, 1 resing caster, and whatever Fizz ranged. Right?
Okay.
That's what parties are going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to get real tight on it. We'll see for sure. I don't know. I mean, people who are in the world race, people who are like actually know what they're doing, they're not going to go by those rules. I'm talking about the mindless, insane bullshit that we see in Party Finder with like the 703, the 702 Party Finders that are up for extreme.
So the only reason I bring up the triple ranged is because a lot of time Party Finder imitates world race, right? So
I don't think so.
Really?
I think there is some like there's some like trickle down, right? There is some level of trickle down in that, and opinions start to like go into different Party Finders and everything else. But I think people will hear one person say something, and then just treat it like the Bible later on, and so that's why some of that world race stuff does trickle down. But like when they see triple caster, they're not going to notice, I think, it not mattering as much. What they're going to notice is that one of the 3 casters is going to complain about not getting a melee spot. And they are going to stop allowing it and go back to double melee. That's most likely, because that's the reasoning people have given me every single time I've talked to them. Is they're like, oh, well, then the range have to fucking fight over who's going to do the melee spot, and they're going to fuck it up because they've never done it before, so why even get them in the party? That's the reason, and that's not going to change with this expansion, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe some of the mechanics in the fights will actually require melee positions and range positions too. We don't know that for sure yet. To where you need to have 2 melee no matter what. I don't know. I mean, you could usually always put in a caster in a melee spot, but I'm trying to think if there's actually going to be a real reason that they can introduce it. Maybe they'll make the mechanics code it to target melee or to target ranged. That could be it too.
I think I'm just like honestly going through my head like, what if World Race develops a ton of strats just to involve triple melee, and then everyone sees, oh my god, that's so much easier, and then Party Finder kicks out the melee. That's more what I'm thinking.
It's possible. It's completely possible, but I don't see it. It would be a hard. I mean, what's your guys' experience been like in Party Finder so far?
Go ahead, Todd.
Go ahead. No, it's okay.
Oh,
Because
I was gonna say,
I've been spoiled with my community. I haven't really done straight up Party Finder yet.
so I've only done Party Finder / like half, probably like my chat filling it, so it's not full community runs. And for the most part, when I've done this, it's been pretty simple. Like for Party Finder, like, and now I do want to say I did this pretty early, at least for the EXs. It people haven't cared about any type of roles or anything like that. They're not restricting roles. It's pretty easy fights. So I think it's such a hard gauge right now because of how simple and straightforward. And like one of the EXs is literally a wall boss that you can hit from anywhere, right? So it doesn't really matter even if you went like quadruple melee. And the only reason you wouldn't want to do that is because of limit break and the buff, right? To for like
5%.
having the proper rules. But I've not personally ran into any issues when it came to composition. I've not ran into issues when it came to just like difficulty on Party Finder side. It seems very chillax for the most part, outside of people just leaving early. But I think that's just people being like, oh, I only want to get my 2 in and get the fuck out. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any real like malice when it comes to like jobs, like at all, at least in my experience. Like, there's not something being locked out.
I've been doing Party Finder myself as well. And I've seen at the very beginning, there was literally 0 restriction. People didn't care about eye level. People didn't care about anything. They're just like, get in here and we need bodies to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty easy. But I have seen an evolution to where people are getting a little bit more restrictive on a lot of the groups, and they're starting to increase that eye level. They're starting to make it to where you have to be in certain roles and everything else. It is starting to fade into that in Party Finder now.
Just the prog versus farm.
Yeah. Prog versus farm stuff too, yeah. Most of my groups I join are prog because you can clear these fights in one instance. And so I join them for fun, but
yeah, I love the prog groups.
They're so much more fun than the farm groups. People get really I guess snooty in farm parties. So I guess
I've mostly dealt with farm parties, and I guess I haven't seen that, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
It's happened for me, so I don't know. But yeah, I think that I mean, the other thing is farm parties don't stick together usually ever. I've made a couple farm parties and people just leave, like you were talking about too. But when it comes to Savage, I expect a lot of these like casual elitist tendencies to come back.
For sure.
Ill-informed elitist tendencies to start coming back. So we'll see, guys. Hey, if you guys are looking for like a raid tier to get into, and do Party Finder, it is completely possible to do it in Party Finder. I guarantee you, no matter what they throw out there, you'll be able to do it.
Week one, you should definitely go in there.
What I would recommend, though, and this is a tangent on Party Finder itself, is to not always solely go with Party Finder. Start talking to people. I mean, like, if you get into a group and, like, 2 people suck in that party, reach out to some of those dudes and just, like, put them in a link shell or a friends list or something. And then next time you go in there, see if they're online, ping them and see if they want to do it again. That stuff does wonders for you, man. You don't have to have static. You just have to have people that you can kind of trust to do the mechanics with. So I'd recommend trying to like socialize a little bit in the game and not just bang your head against the wall. I think that's the mistake a lot of people have with Party Finder, is that they just join random groups and it's always just the roll of the dice every single time. If you start like making a couple of friends in Party Finder and inviting them into your groups before joining into a party or making your own party, you start to kind of edge the odds in your favor. So
that's how a lot of week 1 party finder groups end up clearing, is they establish like buddies they kind of have along the way to like piggyback off of, because they cleared this fight, and this fight together. Oh, I'm on the door boss and I'm like all grinding together, and hey, someone's doing pretty well, I'll reach out to them, they're willing to learn, let's coordinate, kind of thing in party finder. So I think that's like how party finder groups clear week 1 most often. Yeah, soft statics.
Yep.
It's really not a bad idea. I think when people are getting real pissed off at party finder, it's because they're just putting themselves in shitty situations without trying to solve anything. So it is what it is. I put myself in with complete random people because that's fun to me. I don't know.
Content.
Yeah,
it is content. It's memes. Great.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else? World race wise, you guys think it's pretty much just going to be the same as a normal first tier. You're not gonna change it.
I would struggle to see, since it's the first tier, of it not being killed end of first day, second day earlier.
I mean, second day would be a long time,
right? I'd struggle to see it go past the first day, but I mean, maybe they'll throw something as a surprise because they have been turning up the difficulty. But I guess I felt like the last expansion, Savage, was not off basis. Like, it felt like it should be, even compared, like the ultimates they turned up. So, but
okay. I'm hoping for a 2-day tier. I'm hoping for it to be like them to have some stuff off the wall stuff with this tier, and it just throws people for a loop, and we're just gonna see people scratching their heads for like a day, like a few hours a day or whatever, trying to figure out the mechanics and how to optimize for the DPS checks and stuff. It'd be nice to see that, but then we start getting into like certain jobs being invited because of DPS requirements, right? So
yeah, I was like thinking back
true.
to P8S, like how
P8.
Yeah. That caused some issues, and their resolution to it was, just drop the HP of the boss.
I mean, it's week 1 stuff, dude, and like it's supposed. I always thought it should be in order to clear week 1, you need close to perfect, not perfect, but like in the 95 percentile, well executed mechanics with crafted gear to clear it, right? It shouldn't be power through. Once you start getting gear, the fight gets nerfed. That's just what it is. It gets nerfed every time the player base gets more gear. It's nerfed. And so it should be kind of difficult to meet the DPS checks in week 1. Is how I feel. At least on the last boss. Maybe the third one be a little bit rough. People need to find ways to optimize in order to get past it and squeeze in that extra couple % damage. But
I think my brain is a little bit like skewed, because like last time I did a week 1 was E4S. So like, and I felt like that was like super quick to like get through. Like, I remember it being pretty simple. So I think I'm slightly skewed in like inexperience of what the recent week 1s have been.
Yeah, the world first on that one definitely didn't optimize their damage at all. Clearing that, I think they were throwing like doing the spear javelin throws or whatever. Because they were trying to execute mechanics and like letting stuff fall. But yeah, I don't expect. I whatever. We'll see. We'll see, guys. On that note, too, of course, if you guys are wanting to follow the World Race, we're going to be doing it here on the channel. I believe Todd might be casting for us. Yeah,
I'll be there. Point. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have that going on here.
I can't wait.
It's exciting. We got Mountain Dew involved, which is going to be fantastic. Big Sippin's going to be raiding. If you guys, I think we're still filling the roster. If you want to do 8 hours on server up with Big Sippin, sign up here. And I'm gonna have to go through and make sure we get that party done. But it's basically just gonna be, as soon as servers come up, go in there for 8 hours, hit it as hard as possible, and see how far Big Sippin can get in those 8 hours. And Big Sippin's a good player.
You guys cleared Ultimate with him, right?
He's cleared Ultimate. Yeah, he's cleared YouTube Cobb for sure. He's cleared a lot of stuff.
Okay.
He's a pretty good player, dude.
A gamer.
Yeah. So if you guys want to do that, it'll be fun. It's a fun time. to raid with him too. I've had the pleasure of doing it. But anyways, sign up if you guys want to be a part of that. Just since we're on World Race stuff, do you guys have any other thoughts on just raiding right now before we get close to wrapping up the show? Sucks Arthur's never came on.
I know, right?
But
Damn
some
ISP.
anything?
I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see Savage and, of course, the new Ultimate.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be awesome. Just, I think, with the quality of the instance content that we've had so far, it's just, if that's any indication, yeah, I think we're in for a treat for Savage.
Yeah. This will be A tier. There'll be a lot of comments one way or another on it. Hopefully good. Hopefully good. I mean, I want it to be difficult enough to where people can't clear it. But, I mean, that's what Savage should be, I think. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like it should be something that's so difficult that people who are not trying to be good at the game can't clear it. That's it. Everyone can clear it, but some people won't clear it.
Gatekeeper. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I like games to
no
have
echo,
something
no
to
clear.
Why are you trying to keep me away from my cute mounts, Frosty? Like, I just want my cute mounts. Like, let me turn down the difficulty, because like think about the me that just isn't good enough, and I can't use my uncoileds properly or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. You can't use your uncoils. You don't know how to use them properly. Yeah. Jeez, dude, it's so sad. But I mean, I was there, guys. Thousands of years ago when A3S was out. I saw what it did.
the ancient, the before times.
Yeah, the before times, man. I was there back in when Savage wasn't an option. If you wanted to do core story content, I mean, it was technically optional, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I miss A3S. I reminisce on it.
Huh?
I said I miss A3S. I reminisce on it.
Yeah, a lot of us who overcame it do. Right? We're like, this was the fight. It was the challenge. It felt so good to fucking clear that fight. But so many people just left the game.
Yeah, I think it was too toxic for the game.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have cross-server stuff before. The community had to learn to get better at the game. If we have another moment where the community has to learn to get better, is that good for the game or is that bad for the game?
I think I think because of what's happened and the atmosphere of Savage and Party Finder in general, I just think it's bad for the game. I think the current state of things is much more healthy than anything we had back then.
You mean the difficulty levels that we were experiencing with Pandemonium?
Yeah. I would say Pandemonium's more appropriate for the health of the game. Even like thinking back to like Omegas and Eden, all of that. It's since Party Finder has existed and the level of Savage has not been at, Alexander levels outside of Crater. Obviously Crater was easier, but it hasn't been at those levels. I think it's been much more healthy for the game. The game's flourished because of it, I think.
I mean, back in the day, one of my first interviews with Yoshida was talking about the difficulty curve from Heaven's Word, where I was like, hey man, you kind of went really hard and it went really easy, right? It was this decline. Yeah. He was like, yeah, our intent was to go the other way, but the player base just, it didn't work out. It was too hard and we had to adjust. And we hope for the next series to go in the other direction, right? And of course, you saw they stayed kind of plateaued, the same difficulty almost throughout the most tiers. But it could be a situation to where they start off and this becomes like players have to get a little bit better. And then the next tier challenges them a little bit more. And the next tier challenges them a little bit more.
Usually that 8th turn is typically like the hardest one, right?
I mean, it seems like they kind of do that, but I don't know. I mean, P8S was pretty hard. E8S was pretty hard. I mean, A8S was good, but I don't know if I would say it was harder than A4S. I mean, I guess
A4S though, it's such a meme though because of the sack strat and everything. Like, I just think it's poorly designed fights. So it's like, I think it's more on the fact of it's not. It's I don't know. I felt like it was poorly made versus like
Mm,
it's difficult. Maybe if that makes sense. And like the way to get around
the Nissy
that poor
stuff,
design is the Nissy stuff is the sack
Yeah.
strat, and then that made it like its difficulties kind of just like all over the place. I look at Gordius as more A through S is the important thing to talk about if you're ever going to talk about the difficulty, and that was where the difficulty was very high.
Mm-hmm. So we're thinking that there shouldn't be like a hard fucking wall. There should just be. Well, I mean, like, where is that? How do we like pinpoint where is the right difficulty where the community is like, this is okay, right? This is fine. Where you don't have people just like running away from doing raiding in this game because it was just too hard. How do we prevent A3S? I don't know how to do that.
Well, I think that's how they have it now. Is Savage is much more like easier to get into for most people because of it's 1 PF, but like just the difficulty is somewhat lower, and then you have ultimate for the people who do want that upper like difficulty, right?
Right.
And even some of the ultimate fights, like they've gotten easier over time because of balancing changes and stuff. So even UCOB and UU are like very digestible, right? So
Yeah, big time.
Well, I mean, like, then the people who are on the other side who want more difficult content are not going to be as happy, right? And
do you not think Top though and Dragon Song gave that
but it was one fight, you know.
too?
Right. Okay, 2 fights, 2 fights compared to the 12 of Savage, right? And so, I don't know. I do feel like Savage should present not ultimate level difficulty. I think I'm really interested in what their new design philosophy looks like in an ultimate. You know, what's fun and non falling asleep mechanics looking like in an ultimate. But what does that look like in Savage, which we kind of saw a preview, I guess, with the normal raid stuff. But I don't know, man. I feel like no matter what, as soon as Savage comes out, people are going to be complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to be complaining. There's no way the Savage launches without people being pissed off. You're going to have some people who are happy with it, but you're going to have people who are irritated one way or another.
What's the last time a Savage fight like has been across the board universally like okay with people? Then has there been one like or like a tier?
What, like people are like, this is the like, everyone
Maybe
loves it,
Titan?
easy or what?
Maybe
No, like not. It's not too easy, not too hard.
Perfect.
I don't
feel like
know.
most
I mean,
people
like
are pretty happy with
04S
Promise.
was pretty
Like,
easy.
Like E9 through E12, I felt like a lot of people are pretty happy with like outside of like the
think so.
COVID like delays and how long it took to like get new content. I felt like 9 through 12, like that's when I felt like a lot of people were happy.
4 was
No,
pretty
people
well
hated
figured
P3, dude.
Yeah, I'm thinking
It pissed
P3
off a lot of
well,
people.
they hated it, sure, but like
It made it a lot of
hard.
people were not very content, I think, with that fight in particular. The last tier, I think people did have problem with that too. Mostly when it came down, I mean, they complained about the third fight being too easy. The limit cut was complained about a lot on P9S. And then I think a lot of people they struggled so much with the super chains and the limit cut in P12S, and then the straight just body deaths was another point of complaint with the well, caloric being one, right? Caloric, and then what was the other? Classical. Both of those were just straight 8-person body checks that people were complaining about.
I'm not personally a fan of caloric style mechanics, but I mean, I that's the only thing I have a problem with the last tier. Mostly,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like
I mean, those were
like
the only
actual fight.
P12 is the only one that had hard body checks in it. The other ones they had body checks, but they weren't they weren't like you're wiping
about-
because of it.
10 because of the knockback thing where you had to build like the wall.
I mean, that one,
right.
healer limit break 3. And then you rescue. Healer limit break 3, rescue. It solves it. A lot of people didn't know it, but yeah.
Harrowing Hell is the only thing I can think of that people like really got upset about that I can off the top of my
They
head.
had to heal. P10S, I mean, the body checks there, every single body check is recoverable. Every single one. Unless if both healers die, right? And you have no reses. But all of those, for the most part, you're able to recover. And I have recovered every single one of them.
It's tough for me on that one because like I had beaten it week 1 without using the limit break on Harrowing Hell because we had 2 shield healers. And so it was like I was on stage and there was Scholar, so we just like were able to just balance shields somehow well enough to like keep a whole party alive and damage reduction. So I don't know, it didn't seem that bad to me, but I definitely saw PF struggle quite a bit.
PF struggled with it a lot. I mean, P10S is one of the best fights this game's ever had.
Oh, I think it was really good too.
Yeah, it is literally one of the best fights they've ever made. There's some wonky stuff with it, but I mean, it is what it is. Like the wonkiness with the lasers and everything, and the turrets. But I think overall it was extremely good, and they even had many planned spots for limit breaks to recover situations. So I felt like intentionally said, "Hey, this is a good spot." Besides just using the melee limit break, you had tank limit break spots, you had healer limit break spots, you had a couple different spots you could do it, where it felt powerful or useful.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, again, like there was like if you didn't have enough people in this one certain spot in that fight, people would die. But then again, healers could sack themselves. Whoever had to stack could go sack himself. There's so many ways to get around it. It was not just those were soft body checks, I guess is the best way to put it. So, I think that's how a lot of people see a lot of these things is that they're like, hey, if we mess it up, fight's over. Let's jump off. Fuck it. It's too hard to recover. And all those healers that believe that are on strike right now, so I'm fine.
Fake strike. Fake news.
All right, sorry. We went on an ending tangent here.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
It's okay, we can wrap it up.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. This has been a lot of fun. You know, Arthas, could you start us off and tell us closing comments and thoughts and everything here?
He was muted. He was deafened the entire time. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yeah,
how did I not catch that, dude?
I think it was a server deafened too.
So
that's on you, man. That's on Frosty.
Sorry, dude. You know, thought I would have noticed that or something. Yeah. Sorry, everybody that was looking for Arthas to come on today. He just had internet troubles and they never recovered. It just is what it is. Watch him be like fucking streaming right now. If I go over there, that's like streaming. I'd be so pissed. But yeah, this has been a fun show. I appreciate both of you guys hanging out, and I think we went over a lot of stuff that I want to talk about too.
For sure.
I'm really fucking exciting. Or I'm not excited. I'm very excited for what's to come in the next week or so. Llamatodd, could you do me the favor of telling people where they could find you, any last comments or anything that you want to say about the topic that we went over today, and so on?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me twitch.tv/Llamatodd. I'm also on Llamatodd TV on YouTube. And just touching on what we talked about today with like how there's like really no in-game tools that like help you learn how to prepare yourself for Savage. Like I will be coming out with some YouTube guides that will do that. Will actually scratch that itch. So if you're looking to get into some raids and learn how to do Savage and Extremes, come by. All right, we got you covered.
Okay. Guys, please follow Llamatodd if you haven't already. His command was used in the chat, I'm pretty sure, for that too, for the shout out. Ayoko.
All right. Yeah, guys, if you want to find me, it's pretty much all things Kaiyokostar on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, everything. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the raid. It's real. Everything in normal mode's like fucking banger. So I'll definitely be streaming Savage on stream and stuff like that. And yeah. But thank you, Frosty, for having me. Thank you, Todd, for hanging out too and talking. I really enjoyed hang out with you too. I'm sorry I could not meet my favorite Final Fantasy 14 streamer Arthur's and one of my friends' favorite WoW streamers Arthur's.
Yeah, I got one of my favorite Final Fantasy 14 streamers here, Todd, but one I hate the most, WoW streamer Todd as well.
What, man?
But yeah,
the
dude,
hell?
you guys have been a blast. Thank you for coming on, man, both of you. It's good to hang out and chat on a lot of stuff. Some of you guys might have realized I have been a little bit late on uploading the last episode. I have been completely overwhelmed with planning for the World Race, and it has been such a... This has probably been the most work I've ever put into a World Race before. And it's been absolutely painful over the last month or so. And that being said, I am going to be kind of iffy about streaming next week because I'm going to be focused completely on prep for the World Race. And so until I feel confident with that, I won't do daily streams or anything else until we actually get done with the race itself. We will probably have a MogTalk next weekend no matter what, which will be on the World Race. I have a couple of guests that we might have on for it, so look forward to that at the least. But for sure, I just have to prep. If I'm streaming next week, it means we're in a really good spot. So there you go. And I guess with that all being said, we can go ahead and say bye. Thanks everybody for watching. Remember to be good, keep cool. Everybody say bye, wave!
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.